My name's Emily Martin, and I'm taking you behind the scenes to talk to equine artists from around the world. This is Artist Unlocked. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Artist Unlocked. This week's guest is Alaina of Sugar Sweet Studios. A lot of you may know Alaina already. Her account has grown to over 17,000 followers. This girl churns out sales pieces like nobody's business. I am jealous of how fast she is able to work through her pieces while still maintaining such beauty and quality. A lot of you may know that she has a signature way of signing her horses by painting the bottom of their hooves pink. And if you don't know about that, you're definitely going to want to go ahead and watch this episode because we talk about it more in depth and how that came about, because it's definitely super unique and something really true to her brand and her studio. As always, definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I am trying so hard by the end of season 2 to get to 100 subscribers on this channel. We're currently only 10 subs away, so definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you would like to see a season 3 of this show. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. So for those who don't know you, go ahead and just introduce yourself, who you are, how long you've been collecting, your studio name, things like that.
Okay. Well, my name is Alaina Daniel. I'm a 20-year-old artist from Knoxville, Tennessee that specializes in paintwork and resculpting. I've been collecting for about 10 years, give or take. Can't really remember that. It's all kind of a blur when you start getting obsessed in horses, as you probably know.
Yes.
I own Sugar Sweet Studios, and I have a Facebook page, Art by Alaina Daniel.
Awesome. Yeah, that's... I totally feel you though with the getting into it. You kind of like it all blurs together. Yeah. I'm like, I knew I always liked horses, but at what point did it become briars?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I sat there and I was like, oh, I don't know. I've always kind of been a horse person.
Yeah, same. So kind of going along with that, just walk me through your journey of how you got into collecting initially, and then how you discovered the art side of things and how, things have progressed from there.
Of course. I got these 2 little briars from my parents for Christmas when I was about 9 or 10, and I just, they blew my mind. I couldn't believe how realistic they were, because at the time I was just getting the little tack shop rubber horses. And I had tons of those before that, but that didn't really do much for me. But after I got those 2, I started getting really involved with the new releases. I'd beg to borrow my parents' computer just to go to Briar's website just to see what they had coming out. Well, being on the computer too much, obviously, I found the customizing side of things where people were doing new ears and new tails, and I remember thinking, wow, that's so amazing. I have to do that. That's something that I just would fulfill me for some reason. I was very artistic as a child. I don't really know why. I think it's because my parents probably pushed me to be a little more creative and things. But after finding a couple of the tutorials on how to paint and things, I really wanted to invest my time and not really my money, because I didn't have much at the time. So I started looking at all the videos, trying to figure out how I could do it my own way, not having very much money being a child. And I started probably with my 3rd briar I got, Christmas gift too, I think. And I painted that poor horse probably 15 or 16 times. And every time I'd get inspired, I'd just turn back to that one horse and start painting it again. That thing was an inch thick with paint. Oh, Lord.
Oh my gosh.
But my parents worked at a daycare center, and someone had donated some briars, and they were all broken, and they couldn't use them with the children that they had. And so they brought those home, and since then it's been absolutely crazy. Any horse I can get my hands on.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you. I think that's probably it for my journey, because I just remember, like I said, it's kind of a haze. I just picked up a paintbrush, and I constantly was online looking at people's YouTube videos, because at the time that was probably the most I had for online interactions, and just looking up to some people in the hobby thinking, wow, I just love to be able to paint like them and express myself through my art like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's such a cool story though with like
Thank you.
do you have pictures of that horse?
I think I do, but I
Oh my
could be
gosh.
wrong. It's probably in my body box, but I can totally try to like fish it out for you and take pictures because it's
That would
bad.
be that would be amazing. I think
Yes, I'll try.
it's so fun to see like what everybody's like first or like close to their first pieces were because we all kind of
Oh, I
start from that
know.
same baseline of just like I'm in my kitchen with craft paints and
Exactly. It was my
like
mom's crash paint, and I remember they went on a date, and I just was like, "Well, I'm gonna get into everything she has." And she came home, and it was a huge catastrophe of a mess. But she was so proud of me for painting it. It was such a sweet moment.
aw. Are both of your parents then like artistic?
My mom is, and on her side, I have a lot of uncles and aunts that are very artistic, but they are like 70, so their art unfortunately wasn't able to reach more than their small towns they lived in. But
Mm,
I would say so, yeah.
yeah, that's cool because my grandmother is artistic, but there's like no one else in my family. I'm like in a family of like nurses, so
Oh
it's just
no.
like yeah, I'm like, you know, a fish out of water sometimes. So it's cool that you had that like with your mom to share that with her.
Yeah, she's probably been my number one supporter. I think she was my first follower, and I remember her just being like, "Oh my gosh, you're getting so big," and I had like 7 followers.
Aw,
She was such a
that's so cute.
sweetheart.
Yeah. Um, and I think it's funny too how you got those like broken briars like through that
Yeah,
daycare thing too. That's unique, I feel like.
yeah, it was the family Arabian set, I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I still have them somewhere. Could be wrong. A lot's happened. A lot of cutting up and selling and painting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you're anything like me, you have like a box of
Oh
bodies
yeah.
that may or may
Oh,
not ever be gotten to.
yeah, but you can't get rid of them because what if you just wanted to paint that one someday?
Exactly. Or like if people are selling like, you know, really cool molds at like really discounted prices, I try to like
Yeah.
jump on it because you never know, and then I have
See,
a whole box.
we connect on that because my friends say I'm a hoarder. It's like, no, they just need a new life. They're coming here. I promise.
Exactly. I can sell them one day if I don't like them, but
Exactly.
uh so we'll come back to the studio side of things, but and I know for this next question, some people have said that they don't really feel like they have a least favorite side of the hobby, but at least a favorite. What is your favorite side of the hobby? And this could be just like art related or, you know, overall.
Yeah, my favorite part is probably the overwhelming support that new artists and new collectors get. You'll see it on Facebook, on Instagram, all the platforms. It seems like everyone comes together and will support someone, and I feel like that's really what got me locked into the hobby, if you will.
Yeah.
It's just the overwhelming support of people saying, keep going, it's beautiful, like, this is amazing, you're doing so great. I think encouragement, honestly, is the best for anybody. Just hearing that encouragement really does make a difference, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. Because when you're starting out, you know,
Yeah.
unless you're like ridiculously good and you know you're ridiculously good, like everybody starts out kind of like feeling not the most confident and feeling like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
will I ever get to like where I need to be or
The
where I want to
first
be?
show is always brutal to put your
Oh
horse
my
on the
gosh.
table. You're like, oh.
Yeah. What was that like for you?
Oh man, I can't. I did a blue roan, I can't remember the mold, and it had got sticky from the time I packed it to when I
Oh.
got to the show, and I remember my parents having to calm me down. I put it on the table, no one said anything, thank God, but I knew for a fact that wasn't gonna place. But as soon as I did that, I realized that I really wanted to kick it up a notch and really try my hardest at it.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's I'm so glad nobody said anything
I
because like
know, I would have
oh.
melted.
Oh my gosh. I've been to shows too where it's like either I had to like rush through a piece to kind of finish it so I could just put it on the table or like just starting out where I'm just like you walk up there and you almost feel like you don't belong there.
Yeah,
You're like
you're the one out of place, and it's like, oh, just keep going, don't let it get to you.
Yeah, like, I don't want anybody to see that that's my horse on the
Yeah,
table.
exactly. My dad would used to run them up to the table for me.
Oh, that's so sweet of him.
They're such sweethearts, my parents are.
Do you have any, like, favorite moments in the hobby so far?
Oh, probably too many to count. The one that stands out to me is last year, me and my long term partner were at Briarfest, and we just decided let's just put some raffle tickets in because it was Sunday and that was our anniversary. So we're like, oh, we'll put raffle tickets in. Who cares? We'll just have a good time. And that whole weekend, we had amazing luck with special run times. It was a blast. Well, anyway, skip till Sunday. We got our tickets in and we were standing down at the arena and there was a name announced and the name wasn't my name. They said some Alana Davis and I was like, oh, that's so close. And then they had said the zip code and it was, they just mispronounced my last name or something. I'm not really sure, but it turned out that we had won the pony set and oh my gosh, that's just like one of my favorite memories. It was so sweet.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Thank you. They're my
Yeah.
pride and joy now. Everything frames them in my room.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it was your anniversary too, like, that's so special. I guess pivoting a little bit, tell me about your workspace, because I know artists have kind of different ways of working, right? Some have, big studios that they can work in, others are, working from the kitchen table. So what has that journey been like for you?
I started out on a fourth of the dining room table, and I'd have to clean it off every single day when we had dinner. And I had a little tiny computer desk, and it was amazing for the time because I still got to do my painting and have my own little area. But my mom decided that I needed somewhere bigger, and we had a computer office that no one was using. So she went ahead and said, if you put all the protective plastic down everywhere and you don't airbrush the walls, I'll let you have in there. And so right now, that's where I am. I have an L-shaped desk, which makes it absolutely amazing for having my airbrush tank and everything set up because I live in a mess, but it's my mess that I know where everything is.
There you go.
So that's where I am right now with working in an office. I really do prefer having somewhere with closed doors just because we do have a lot of animals and it's always a bummer to finish something and find a cat hair in it.
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, or like, if they get in the room and knock stuff over that's drying, that would just gives me anxiety.
Oh, you can't be mad at them, they're too cute. It's just, oh, I know.
Yeah, I always like my studio is like in my room and I have a little desk and stuff, and whenever I prime models I like have to open my windows and stuff because it stinks.
Yeah.
But
no.
I'm like, I'm afraid if I put them anywhere else someone's gonna like knock them over by accident.
Oh, I know, it's rough.
It's like worth the potential cancer I'm giving myself with the
exactly.
fumes.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, well, that's awesome that you have a whole space, and it's funny that you mentioned like your mom telling you to just make sure you like put all this stuff down, don't airbrush the walls, because like my parents joke that when I move out, like I try to keep things pretty neat, but obviously like things spill sometimes, so I have a couple like paint stains on the carpet that like maybe less than favorable, but yeah, my parents have been super like, you can do it, but we have to make sure you're not going to ruin our house.
Yep, that's exactly how she was. Just you're gonna put all the plastic up. There's gonna be the mats on the floor. You're not gonna ruin the office. But it was very sweet of her to let me have that area.
Yeah, for sure. So what mediums do you primarily work with?
I honestly will work with anything I can get my hands on, whether that be acrylic, pastel, oil, watercolor pencils, Pearl-X pigments. It's honestly a highlighter, like Jeffree Star makeup highlighter. Anything I can get my hands on, if it looks nice on a horse, it will be on a horse. I work with everything.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate that because I know like obviously some artists prefer to find a medium that works for them and stick to it, but I think it's cool that you can incorporate so many different mediums. Do you tend to do you have a process for, you do base coats one way and then you do details another way?
I honestly, every horse is so different, but I make sure that when I'm trying out my new techniques and my new processes and new paints and things, I always work on a horse that is not for someone who is buying it from me, because I would hate for it to have a reaction with the paint or anything down the road. So I try to hold on to the, I guess, like the project horses, which I usually do my resins like that, just so I can make sure that there's not going to be any huge issues down the road. But I really do like to do an acrylic base no matter what I'm painting with what kind of mediums. I feel like it really is just a simple, easy way to start. I like to do the shading, and then details are the very last, which would be the eyes, the hair, the hooves. I find that I just mess everything up if I try to rush through it. Trying to think what else I do. I like to seal in between every coat, obviously, because I'm very clumsy and I spill paint everywhere all the time. So that's a must. But I think that's pretty much it. It's really different for every horse, I'd say, excluding the acrylic base coat, because I can't stick to a certain thing, a certain pattern. It drives me crazy.
That's cool though. It adds like a spin of uniqueness.
Yeah, every horse is very different.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have like a favorite medium that you've worked with, one that you just really like to use, or do you have like, yeah.
Probably the cheap apple barrel acrylics from Walmart. They're very chalky, and I know that drives some people absolutely insane, but I find that that is the best for anything you put on it. It grips everything and holds it locked tight. It does give you kind of a texture if you don't really water it down, but I do think I like the apple barrel acrylics the best for base coats and base anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because you're right. I find it interesting how like everybody kind of prefers something a little bit different.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's a cool part of the art side, is like you could tell people like exactly what you're doing, and it'll come out differently every time because everybody has their own spin and
yes,
way
very different every time.
Do you have any favorite tools that you like to use to do your customs?
I really love my acrylic nail file. It is like a little tiny pink nail file that you can plug into the wall, and it has adjustable speed on it. But I do my acrylic nails probably as much as I do my model horses. I'm always doing something crafty. But I love that little nail drill for everything model horses, because you can get into every little crevice to sand. You can do it inside and just have a mask on. It's not as scary and harmful as the big Dremel is. Yeah. I absolutely love that little acrylic file.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never heard of anybody using that before, but like I'm
probably
sure
wasn't supposed to.
I think a lot of people like discover new techniques that way, using things that aren't like designated for the hobby. But yeah, that's an interesting technique, because I'm sure it's a lot less daunting than the Dremel. I know, like Dremel. Oh my gosh, I was so intimidated of that thing, and I still kind of am. I feel like you have to have a certain respect for it, otherwise it'll bite you one day. But I did I guess, gosh, like 9 months ago at this point, I was using like a hacksaw. Sometimes I'll use those to just kind of do the big cuts, chopping off tails and stuff. And I was being dumb, and I wasn't wearing gloves, and I didn't have like a clamp, and it slipped, and oh my gosh, I sliced my hand, and I had to get like 4 stitches. It was like, to this day, I don't go near that thing. It gives me like phantom pains to get near it. I'm like, I can't. So yeah, I can definitely appreciate having a tool that works just as well, but won't cut your hand off.
Exactly.
Do you have a favorite and least favorite scale to work in?
This is probably like absolutely madness, but my favorite scale is stablemate, and my least favorite is traditional, even though I work primarily in traditional scale.
Yeah, I don't think that's weird at all. What do you like and don't like about those two?
I really love how you can almost like over detail a stablemate, and I feel like when you really put time and effort and love into a stablemate, it can almost pack a bigger punch with the details than a traditional could.
Mm.
There's something about how little they are too. They're almost like potato chips. You just can't stop.
Oh my
I love
gosh,
them.
so true. I have been getting into the minis lately,
Yes. Oh, it's the
and
dark side.
I know, because they're cheaper, and then I'll turn around and have. You're right, they are like chips, and I also like that curio scale that's
Oh
been
yeah, I love that
coming
too.
out. Yeah, what don't you like as much about the traditionals?
There's more room to mess up. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm very clumsy with my paint and everything I have. So I'll get a traditional done and then I'll turn it around and there's a paint drip and it's like, but that's not even the right color. I didn't use that color on you. What happened? Just seems like there's a lot more that could go wrong on a traditional than a little bitty stablemate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I find the traditionals daunting as well. I'm trying to get over that a little bit, but yeah, I have to agree with you there. I wanted to talk about too. I know you sort of have like a signature style of your customs with the hooves. Tell me about that.
Oh, yes. Okay, so originally I was signing my horses with just a black watercolor pencil, and I was always thinking, like, man, there's just something missing. They don't scream Alaina. There's nothing that's like, oh god, that's obnoxious. Someone like turn it back over. And so I was sitting there, I was thinking, I was like, I do love pink. And one of my friends goes, well, then why don't you just paint a horse pink? I was like, I can't do that. That's crazy. But I'm going to do that later. But it goes, then why don't you just maybe like paint one spot of it pink so that way people know? And it just, everything clicked. And I was like, I'm going to do the bottom of the feet pink. Because when someone flips it over, the first thing they're going to see is like, yeah, that's Alaina's work. That's obnoxious. It's got to be neon pink. So I guess that's pretty much the story of how it came about. And now I'm obsessed with it. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's such a unique way to sign your horses. I think that's really cool. And I haven't seen anybody really do anything like that. So props to you for starting
you.
that. Does that play into like your style of that play into how you came up with your studio name?
Yes, I am obsessed with pink, everything just girly and over the top and bedazzled. And I was like, well, I also am kind of obsessed with candy and sweet tea and things that are going to make my teeth rot out when I'm old. And I was just thinking, I need to change. I need to do something that's different and that sets me apart. And so I was really thinking on it, and it was actually stuck between Sweet Tea Studios and Sugar Sweet Studios. But I ultimately decided on Sugar Sweet because I thought I could go over the top with pink with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's cool because it's funny, like some people with their studio names, they just kind of like, oh, I need a name and just came up with it one time, and then others have like such a cool, like there's more meaning behind it, so it's interesting to find out the background. Have you had anybody like say anything to you about the way you do like the pink with the bottom of their hooves?
I haven't yet. Everyone so far seems to love it. I hope everyone loves it. That's just, I'm over the top and obnoxious, so I really do want it to just kind of show on everything I do.
Do you have any tips for artists that are looking to get into the hobby, get into customizing, and you know they see your work and they want to be where you are? What are your tips for them?
I think my number one tip, and probably my number one mistake myself when I started out, was taking commissions too early. I think that commissions can really put a damper on your creativity. And I personally, that's one of the reasons I don't take commissions. I find that I enjoy painting and what I do and how my horses come out 100 times more than if I take a commission and I'm in a little box. So I do really think that commissions, they can kill some creative juices, if you will. For me, definitely. But I think that's probably my number one tip for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's fun to be like, oh, people want to buy my work, and you know they put even a small money value on it, and it's kind of, I'm not gonna say like addictive, but it can be.
It almost is. It's like, wow, they really want it that much.
Yeah, and I know so I started my account in 2015, around there, and I didn't start for the purpose of doing the art side. Actually, I think I was like entering a giveaway. But I think I probably did make that mistake of taking commissions a little too early, and I think it stunted my growth in some ways, and it actually kind of drove me away from the hobby for a little while because
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
it became work before I was like ready for it to be work. And you're right. I think if you're not in the right mindset to take them, then it can really kind of stunt your creativity and make you feel, unmotivated.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of took a break about a year before I decided I was going to change into Sugar Sweet Studios, because it was me and my sister, Victoria, Desert Rose Studios. But I got into the habit of just doing commissions, and the people who I worked with were really nice, and no one was ever really mean to me or anything, but it just felt like work. And at that time, I was still developing as a teenager, and I was still trying to figure out who I was, and that just really put a damper on model horses, the hobby, just thinking, oh, I have to go paint this because they're gonna want it by this time, and I don't want to disappoint somebody. And yeah, I really do think it stunted my growth as well.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what it was like to have that account with your sister, because I was following you in those days, and I remember that. So what was that like?
That it was amazing until we hit a certain age. It was absolutely perfect because I would paint during the school year because I was homeschooled, and she'd go to public school, so she'd paint when she came back and had time off, and I wouldn't paint during that time because I was like, oh well, it's break, I don't want to do anything. It was perfect until we both decided we had very different styles, and people were having not a hard time, just that it was almost too much to have to just remind people sometimes that we were separate people and we didn't really want to be grouped together. But it was our own fault because we made one account. Like, obviously they're gonna think you're one person, like, who makes an account with like multiple people. But we talked to my mom, obviously, because she's the rock here in the house. And she said she really agreed that we should split up. It's no hard feelings. There's nothing, we didn't get into any fights or anything like that. It was just, I'm obnoxious, she's not. She's very calm and mellow, and she likes to do her stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna freak out, I have to paint, I have to do this and this and this, I'm bouncing off the wall. So I think it just really came down to growing up some and having to mature and just finding ourselves.
Yeah, I think that, it's like what you said, it was fun while you guys were having fun with it, and then once you kind of realize that you had different styles, then it just becomes, kind of hard to differentiate between the two. It's kind of like are you guys twins or are you just sisters?
No, we're just sisters. She's actually my best friend who moved in with me when I was like 10. There was a whole situation going, and so she kind of lives here, and now she used to kind of live here. She lives here now full time, but everyone calls us sisters. We've grown up together, we're sisters.
Aww.
At that point, it's not best friends, it's actually sisters. So
Yeah, that's so sweet though. And she still does customizing?
oh yes, she does. She has college courses though, so she's very, very busy with that. So she paints when she gets a chance to.
I feel that.
Yes, I see her struggling every day. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I could help you, but I can't. I'm not good at any school.
So you didn't decide to go like the stereotypical college path then?
No, unfortunately not. I can't. This is probably my worst trait, but if I can't motivate myself to do it in like a short span of time, it won't happen. It won't. I can't like have that motivation every day to do schoolwork, I guess, at this point. And so I said, well, I'm not going to waste my money doing that just yet because I know I'm going to drop out or I'm going to quit. It's just not realistic for me at this point, but I'd still like to pursue some kind of college in the near future, just at a time that I think I'm more stable and ready.
Yeah, no.
And all that.
I don't knock you for that at all. I think certainly college isn't for everyone, and different people have different paths. Yeah, I mean, like I've had sort of this, I've been very fortunate. I have a unique situation where I've gotten some scholarship money where I can get through school, I'm trying to get through school mostly debt free, and so
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, but thank you. And I feel like if I had to go back and do it again without that, I feel like I would not, because
Yes, yes.
it depends on your major, obviously. Like if you're going to be a doctor, you need to go to school. But certain things there's I don't know. I'll rant all day about the college system, but
Oh, me too. Don't worry.
so coming back, this is kind of a big question. I know some people have had to think about this one, but what's one thing you'd like to see more of in the hobby?
I guess I wish there was more willingness to resolve conflict in the hobby and less cancel culture, if you will.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people see one side of something and they put all of their feelings and stress and all of their everything online on to one person without seeing the other side, I guess. I really do think that sometimes people need to take a step back, let everything calm down, and then respond, because you can't say anything nice when you're mad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in my experience anyway, I've been lucky enough to not be super involved in most, if any, of like the real drama that goes on, but I think some of it is all also the fact that in some ways I feel like we're all kind of growing up together. So,
Yeah,
5 years ago, we may have not all had the chance to, or the self control to know when to stop or how to handle like that social
yes,
media
me.
side.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I think no matter what, there's always going to be people that kind of want to put negativity out, and it's just how you handle it, and I think it's awesome that you're even just like little things like you said, like your studio name, and you said you're very like bright, and at least you seem outgoing, and so I think there's
Thank you.
like
That's so sweet.
yeah, I think there's something to be said for that kind of cheerfulness in the hobby. I think it's refreshing.
Well, thank you. I really try my hardest to make sure everyone's happy around me.
Overall, what does the hobby mean to you?
Probably more than I could describe, but I'll try.
Sure.
I think the hobby is such an amazing place for people to be able to focus their energy, especially for me. Like you said, I'm very outgoing and I bounce off the walls, and if something doesn't strike my interest immediately, it fizzles out. And so it's very nice just to be able to have somewhere that I can sit down, like relax, just calm down and focus on. I think it means kind of like a family situation. Like you feel like you're calm and you're at peace and like, okay, I trust these people. I'm going to be okay. Everything's just fine.
Yeah.
I can let my walls down. I can de-stress and enjoy painting and horses, and just something that I think a lot of people don't get if they don't have a hobby. They don't have that de-stressing time and that calm time where you can feel okay and safe and work on things.
Yeah, that's so true. I know, like, being in quarantine has helped me
Oh, I know. I'm
come
falling
off the
apart.
treadmill. Yeah, I've been able to come off the treadmill of life a little bit and get back into painting, and it's been really refreshing for my mental health. So I think, moving forward as things start to get busier, I'm definitely gonna work harder at keeping the hobby more in my life and making time for it, because you're right. I think it is an escape for a lot of people, and it's a place where we can all just kind of forget about working and all of our
Yeah, all
personal
the
lives.
stress and
Yeah.
everything else out there going on.
Yeah, so true. So then, this could be short term or long term, but what are your future goals?
My future goals for the hobby would obviously be a big name painter and be able to go to a lot of shows and interact with everybody and inspire the younger generation coming up into the hobby. I think that's something that I looked onto the bigger artists when I was little, and they were all so so nice to me. And I just remember thinking back, like, that I can't wait to do that and be that for somebody, to be able to say, no, you're doing great, just keep going, keep working. I really am looking forward to being able to attend more shows after this whole thing blows over, and just get to socialize with everybody probably. But not model horse related. I'd like to go back to try to go to college, obviously. probably about 5 to 10 years, not anytime really soon. I'm not in a rush. And then probably start a horse farm. I do have a horse, but I'd love to be able to get some more horses and bring them to my property and just inspire people and let people work with horses and realize they're not big, scary killing machines. A lot of people are scared.
Oh my gosh, I know. I remember the first time I brought my boyfriend to the farm, because I've been riding for about 12 years now. And oh my gosh, it's so funny to see their reactions, because like they think they're these vicious killer beasts.
It's like my dad. He's 6'1". He's got huge shoulders. He's a big macho man, and he used to be terrified of my horse. That's so funny. I was like, no, he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, that's awesome though. I think that those are really good goals. I definitely would like to have some sort of farm one day. I think it's valiant of you with your goals for inspiring others and, you know, getting to kind of mentor that younger generation. I think we've seen kind of an increase in the amount of like community events in the last year, you know, with like Nema Pemo and other contests and stuff. Like, and then I know like Mares in Black has their mentor program, and so I think the hobby is definitely trending towards that. So I think that those are really good goals. I like to leave this last little bit up to you to plug your work, let people know where they can find you, and what to expect from you in the future.
Well, obviously you can find me on Instagram, Sugar Sweet Studios, and I do have a Facebook page, Art by Alaina Daniel. Those are my only 2 social media accounts that I do art on, but I'm always open to talk and to just be there for people who need to discuss things or paint, need help with painting work, any of that kind of stuff. I'm always there if anyone does need help. I do have a lot of sales pieces coming, but can't guarantee when because I am all over the place all the time. Just kind of like whenever my brain decides, yeah, let's do just this one horse and spend 12 hours doing it.
That's awesome though.
I do have a super big surprise hopefully coming November, December, somewhere in there. It is a traditional resin, but that's about as much as I can say about it right now because I am in the process of working on it. So everything could change, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, definitely everybody go check her out and buy those sales pieces when they go live. But that's really awesome. I'll have to keep an eye out for that resin.
Well, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Alright you guys, that was the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely go ahead and check out all of Alaina's links to social media below. I'll leave them all in the description for you to check out. She's always got new pieces for sale, so you're definitely going to want to go ahead and check out that. As always, if you guys want to keep up with me and my more day-to-day interactions both in my studio and behind the scenes for Artists Unlocked, go ahead and follow my Instagram. It's Frost Studios Equine Art. Definitely go ahead and make sure you tune in for next week's episode featuring Carissa of Sprucewood Farm Studio. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!